Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Football on the Know Show. I am Jim McPhee, and right there is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, know-it-alls? Welcome back once again. Going to be talking some football, of course, because that's what this show is all about. We want you guys to be part of the conversation, and it's so simple to do so. One of our main guys that always tune in, Rise Up Dirty Bird, shout out to you, is always checking us out every single week, always dropping in the comment section down below. You guys can be part of that too. And it's an interactive show. So we are live right now. Drop in the comment section. If you have any questions, ask them. If you have any opinions, express them. Or if you just want to be part of the conversation, we welcome that too. We ask of you to further help out the show by heading over to YouTube for us. Hit that subscribe button, as you will see. And also, thumbs up, and let YouTube know that you want more people to watch this show. And just don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend. Share it, spread the word. Jim.
All right.
What do we got on the docket today, my friend?
Hey, I'm having trust issues lately here with the NFL, Joe. What team is actually really good at this point? I don't know. The undefeateds fell, and then they all lost again. Teams that looked like they were kind of, down in the dumps coming back. Look at the Chiefs get a victory against the Lions, who again, Lions were roaring, and now they lay an egg against the Chiefs. It's just craziness right now. So we're talking, who do you trust? I don't know who to trust out there. Eagles. What the hell again? It seems like for a team that's really good, not as good as that, they're not that same championship team from last year. Some teammates have changed and things, but what the hell's going on with the offense again? You know what I mean? You're not getting the ball to your playmaker. And then also week 7 picks, Joe. Picks are coming. It's going to be hot and heavy. I don't know who to even pick this week. I mean, it's going to be crazy. Like I said, I don't trust anybody in this damn thing. But my Giants pull off the victory against the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday night. I'm still
excited. Did you have any doubt?
Yeah, we did. I mean, and what's funny is because, when we talk about the Giants here, and you can see some of the talent there that they do have, that they can play some teams tough, and they do this. They elevate their game to teams most of the time that are traditionally better than them, but they really came out swinging. They together as a locker room, I really kind of think really gelled and trying to push this thing forward like themselves, right? Brian Burns ended up saying, hey, let's call, players only meeting. Let's talk about the defense. I think we need to get more aggressive here. And Shane Bowen must have heard that they had that conversation. It's like, okay, I'll do what you guys say. And they go through and they really played hard here and pretty much dominated the Philadelphia Eagles, but in that one. So I'm excited about that one. And like I said, there's a bunch of different teams who I thought they were pretty good here, but I'm not so sure anymore. So who do you trust, Joe? Out of the teams that are out there, there's still teams with 5 that are 5-1 right now, teams with 4 wins. What's a team that you really have trust in right now at this point?
Honestly, none. Not any of the 32 teams that are out there are trustworthy. This whole season so far has been an absolute roller coaster of emotions, of decisions, of foul play week to week. When you think you have a team pegged and you're like, oh, this is definitely a contending team, they're on the rise, and then they lose to one of the worst teams, and that same worst team wins the next 2 games, it confuses you. So for overall, to me, there is really truly no trustworthy team up to this point in this season. We're almost at the midway point. But I mean, if you're going to have to pick a couple anyway, and I say a couple because honestly, when you look at it, the Indianapolis Colts to me are one of the most surprising teams and one of the only teams that are trustworthy in the AFC. They're 5-1 right now. They have 194 points up to this point they've scored, and points against them has only been 116. So they're playing good defense. They're playing great offense, and no one can stop or find a way to stop Jonathan Taylor from running the rock. So that they are my one team in the AFC that is kind of, I mean, honestly, they're the most trustworthy team right now in the AFC.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. I mean, I see and I agree with you there too. Daniel Jones is playing his best ball that he's ever played right now. But again, you've got a great organization known for winning, a good offensive line, a good running back, in the backfield here with Jonathan Taylor that's staying healthy. And again, the best receivers that he's ever thrown to, in his career, I would say, at least, altogether as a whole. So it's a great situation for him, and they are playing good. Again, with them, you trust them, but again, who are they going to beat right now? So this week, I think, is going to be a good matchup here to kind of test that out too and see how good these guys really are. On the NFC side, for me, just even with Baker Mayfield alone, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But this team, again, no matter how many times people are trying to count them out, how many injuries they have. I mean, you can list the injuries. Mike Evans been out for a while. Chris Godwin in and out of the lineup. Emeka Buka's out now too. Bucky Irving's been injured. But again, White's in there and playing well, still running the ball effectively. You put the ball in Baker Mayfield's hands and he's electric, making plays with his legs, with his arm. He's got 12 touchdowns, only one pick, 66% throwing percentage. And this guy's putting it all on his shoulders and just performing right now. They're fourth in the league in passing yards, tied for third for touchdowns. Altogether, they're just dominating right now in some close matchups. And I think overall, that's where I find my trust in teams. When can you fight in these close, drag them out in the trenches types of matches and come out victorious? That's going to matter come playoff time. So right now at this point, with even who they have left over in their schedule, I think Tampa Bay really has a good shot to go far in this, right? They're the only ones in the NFC that I kind of trust right now.
I gotta tell you, for the NFC, I don't have a single team. Not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because they've had to claw their way back into winning games. It's not like they've won any of these games. They're 5-1 right now, but there's 4 games that they had to come back in to win in the very end, which is great. But there hasn't been any convincing wins. There hasn't been any wins where you're winning by multiple touchdowns. And when you have a high percentage of winning, obviously because of that 5-1 record, but also you look at the statistics of a team that has scored 165 total points up to this point, but has also let up 151. That doesn't express to me trust. That expresses to me indecision. Not sure what this team is. Are they contender? Record wise, yes. Record wise, they're a contending team going into the playoffs. It's still early in the season and all that. But honestly, you look at up and down this NFC conference, and there's no clear front runner. There's no the Eagles, former Super Bowl championship team, that's 4-2 right now. That's struggling on offense. That's not the same on defense. That doesn't give you too much, confidence. And then you got all these other teams that are kind of throwing their bids in the mix. Teams that we didn't expect to play as well as they are now. Maybe it was a quarterback change, New York Giants. Maybe it was a new head coach with Ben Johnson with the Chicago Bears. They're 3-2. Like a team that we thought we kind of wrote off in a sense, but now they're starting to kind of claw their way to a couple wins. And overall, this NFC conference up and down it. Like I love the Atlanta Falcons, what they've been able to do, but at the same time, it's like they're a team that's 3-2 and they've given up 100 points. They've also scored 100 points. It's almost dead even, so it makes you question everything as a football fan, as someone that follows football. What are these teams? And well, to top it all off, the Green Bay Packers came in like lightning in weeks 1 and 2, really lit the league on fire and put everybody on notice. But like, is this the best team in the NFC? And the last couple of weeks have been struggling defensively. Even though they're 3-1-1, they're not a team I can trust either. So, Jim, I gotta say, overall, I got major trust in you this season. And I don't trust anybody at this
I
point.
know. Let it all out, Joe. Let it all out. We got a shout out here
Boy,
to
rise up, Dirty Bird.
Dirty Birds.
Hashtag know-it-alls.
He's in there in the house
Said
with us.
Falcons have #1 defense and #2 offense in the NFL currently. You are absolutely right, my friend. And the Falcons
Well,
are playing above and beyond.
I'd say for yardage, they have #2 on offense, but not points for, and that's a major
Total.
thing because that's how you win.
It's total.
Yeah, and that's because of the running game. Bijan Robinson, he's the whole package there, So
Number
if they
two
don't have
offense.
him, they don't have it. You know what I
Number
mean?
2
So
offense, #1 defense.
okay, I get that, but again, I don't trust them at all. Again, but what is good for them is the fact I think the rest of their schedule still favors them and gives them a good shot to keep getting some of these wins. But again, this team, you put it all on Bijan Robinson's back. Again, I understand, they are winning. He is the key to their whole success here, but the defense on top of it too. And the defense, what they did to Josh Allen this last game against the Buffalo Bills, he's excited too about that. Winning with the Buffalo Bills, pressured, took the fight to Josh Allen, not sit back trying to protect, not spy him or whatever, pressured the daylights out of him, make him throw, and not having that connection with a true wide receiver again. We talked about it in the offseason with the Bills. What are they going to be able to do? Who's going to step up? And in early times, it looked like it was going to be Keon Coleman, but he's disappeared. You've got some injuries with your Curtis Samuel and Dalton Kincaid, but again, nobody else really stepping out. So where he kind of forced it to, was it
Khalil
Shakir? I keep wanting to say Shazier all the time. Every time I say his goddamn name, so I keep screwing it up. But yeah, he keeps trying to force it to him the whole time. But you gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to the Eagles or the Falcons. They really played the Bills tough. But I really don't trust them right now. Still, too. Again, I don't trust the quarterback play. He's got 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So if he cleans it up and stays, clean throughout the rest of the season, like I said in our last night's show, I think they can go far as long as they keep continuing to run the ball and have that good defense.
And that's the thing, is that the beauty of this is that Michael Penix is a rookie. Michael Penix is starting this season as a rookie. Forget about how he only had like a few games last year. This is really his true season to show what he can do in its entirety. And he's growing before our eyes. And that's the other critical thing is that Rise Up Dirty Birds pointed out, I wanted to get to, is the fact that it's not just Bijan Robinson. Yes, Bijan Robinson is one of their best, if not the best weapon that they have. And of course, you're going to utilize that just like any other offense. But at the same time, they have young guys like Drake London, who's killing it in the league at wide receiver. You have Kyle Pitts, who is having the best year of his career right now because of Michael Penix at quarterback. You have a rock-solid offensive line. And don't forget, on the defense that nobody really kind of talks about, this is a team that's emerging right now. A.J. Terrell just came back from injury, and that's really kind of what helped this back end of the defense kind of play up to expectations against the Buffalo Bills and literally shut them down. Literally didn't have an answer for them. Josh Allen is only one guy. He needs better playmakers on the outsides, and he doesn't have that. So when it comes down to crunch time, and you know what? The running game, it was working here and there, but not consistently. And you go to the air, there's no real playmaker there. So that's a big problem in Buffalo. That's why we questioned it before we even got into this season. How good are the Bills? Well, they're showing us when it comes down to crunch time and they play a really good defense, they're going to struggle more times than not. So this is concerning for the Bills, but for the Atlanta Falcons, on the other hand, this is showing growth. For once in a long time, the Atlanta Falcons are showing growth, and not just with veterans, with young up-and-coming players.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they're playing well. They're really a good team. They got really good defense and stuff. And I think, like I said, with their schedule that they have, it's very favorable that they can easily make a playoff spot here. But again, for like you said, in the NFC, is there really a lot of teams you can even trust? So it's very difficult to try and think of some team that you can kind of go in on. I mean, when you look at the NFC West, even too, with the 49ers and how banged up they are. Now losing Fred Warner is just killer on this one too for them. But then even the Rams where it seems like it's like with the division the way it is, it's like dangling in front of them, like, here you guys go, take the division, will you? And they're kind of still not getting that offense clicking like I thought it would, with Devontae Adams, and seems like, with Puka Nacua here. Now with Nacua injured, do we see now Devontae Adams kind of step up and emerge and kind of be more involved in this offense? Because it seems like he's just kind of hit and miss, week to week, with his production.
Well, Devontae Adams is still involved, even with Puka Nacua in the lineup. It's not like he's completely off the grid. He definitely gets utilized opposite Nacua. I mean, here's the thing: is Puka Nacua is the number one. To just be blunt, he's always been the number one with the Rams. So there's comfortability there with Matt Stafford and him. There's chemistry there already, and obviously chemistry is being built as the season progresses with Devontae Adams. But in the end, like, it is a very solid offense, and in its entirety. Like, you look at the offensive line is pretty solid. Kyren Williams is having another great year for them. There's a lot to like there, but for some reason, here's the funny thing: is in this division, they're tied for first. We're talking about the Rams as if they're like kind of like on the bottom of the shelf here in the division and not playing up to par. But it's interesting how this division is tied. Three teams are tied for first right now. None of them are taking the division by storm at all. Seahawks seem to be, again, one of those up and down teams. They perform well one week, not the next. The Niners, they've been riddled with injuries. Like you just mentioned, Fred Warner's going to be out for the season, and he's done that. They're captain of the defense, and you keep losing more and more pieces on that team. And then you got the Rams, where they got a young defense. It's solid. It's good. And with the Rams, and they're probably the most, if not the one of the most healthier teams in the NFC. And they're still 4-2. They're again, this is a team that we kind of expected to maybe even just take this division with ease, or at least some kind of competitiveness. But I'll tell you this right now, the Rams aren't playing on all cylinders yet. Puka Nacua might be having a stellar season, and that's all good and all, but the team as a whole is not taking over and just saying we're going to lead the charge and win this division in the end.
Yeah, precisely. And that's what I'm kind of looking at. I'm like, when are they going to kind of do this and step up? But maybe again, they're just finding their way going through, and then towards the end, that's when we usually see some of these guys. Especially when it comes down to the playoffs and making the Super Bowl. What team emerges here as that team?
Honestly, it's only week 7.
Oh yeah,
well, we're almost in the midway point. But at the same time, like, teams tend to, especially teams with new players or younger players, they seem to gel more towards the latter part of the season. So the jury's still out on most of these teams, if not all, on how good they can become, or are they really who we think they are? Like the Colts is a surprise. You know what I mean? Like the Packers kind of surprised us first 2 weeks. Now they seem to be, coming back down to earth, so to speak. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, how long can they keep their close games and still come out on top at 5-1? Like, that's to me concerning looking forward for the Buccaneers. And then, like you mentioned, the Falcons are, yes, they're a young team. They're figuring their way through the NFL. Michael Penix is growing week to week. How much better can he improve by the end of the season? And will they be in the playoff hunt? So there's a lot of questions up and down each conference. No real clear view of saying, oh, definitely contender. And then one contender we thought in the AFC was going to be supreme is the Baltimore Ravens. And they've fallen flat on their beaks. They just can't get things right. Lamar Jackson going down with injury. Obviously, that's hindered them. Derrick Henry fumbling a couple times in critical moments. And this team overall is just not gelling, is not playing well. And obviously we do know that, they have their fair share of injuries as well, but that's no excuse. You still have to be a competitive team. You got to find ways to win. And so far, teams like the Ravens are just not figuring it out.
Yeah. I know. Like I said, it is puzzling. And this truly shows this year, I think out of any, is that at any given Sunday, again, any given Sunday, anything could freaking happen. You don't know, and that's not even just bringing in injuries. That's just how people show up and
Yeah.
perform. Because I mean, it is crazy. Like you said, when we're looking at the Green Bay Packers and their defense was a top 5 defense last year, you add Micah Parsons, you're like, oh snap, I mean, watch out. And crickets basically at this point. Like, what's going on? Like, where is all of it? Where's the pressure? Where's the, they should have been able to, like dismantle the Bengals last week. And they didn't. It was a tight game.
Yeah.
Hey,
Joe Flacco to the rescue, everybody.
Yeah.
You get yourself an actual quarterback that can at least be a manager, and look at what Jamar Chase is capable of doing. T. Higgins. Look at what that offense can do when you have a capable quarterback, not even one of the best quarterbacks, but a capable one. Yeah. So that just goes to show you what the offense can do for the Bengals. But again, like it keeps rearing its ugly head. The Bengals are not out of the clear because their defense still sucks.
Yeah. Rise Up says, how are they going to tackle Bijan without Fred Warner on Sunday Night Football? I don't know.
Good luck. That's all exactly. I got to say.
That was their stopper out of everybody. Yeah. They got a couple players back this week, but nothing of any impact. Again, like that, it's going to be tough. Right. It's going to be a tough out for both those teams. So, but yeah, I mean, it is really tough to trust these teams out there. On the AFC side, man, again, like you said,
I only
bring up
one.
The Colts, but
I only found them.
That's it. I mean, because a lot of other teams have questions. Like you said, when there's a team that's like leading the division, like let's look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? They're 4-1. They're just came off a bye week, and now here they are, ready to play. And still their running game is 29th in the league after they let Najee Harris go and things, and trying to make things work out for them. Even Aaron Rodgers is just doing enough to make it okay. Yes, he's got, DK Metcalf there and whatnot too, and making some big plays down the line, but nothing really kind of continuous. It's like spurts again, to where last year was almost like you were wondering, like, is this just Russell Wilson, why they look like this? It just seems to me it's just like the team is kind of like that again, but their lack of running and not being balanced, something that even Pittsburgh's been known for. They've been known for defense and running the ball, and they're really not doing the best of kind of either right now at this point, but still sitting there at the top. That's why I can't even trust them this season.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Even though they're 4-1 and they're sitting atop a very tough division, they're another team that they've given up 107 points up to this point. They've only scored 119, so they're winning close games for the most part. And it's like, yeah, they've been able to squeak out these wins and become 4-1, but again, like nothing that gives you confidence in saying, well, they're definitely the contenders for the playoffs, and who knows, perhaps further. The only other team in the AFC that seems to be trending upwards, other than the Colts, is like, honestly, in the AFC East, the New England Patriots, and what Mike Vrabel has done with that team in his first off season. With Drake May leading the charge of that offense and the defense that he's kind of brought back to life. New England's 4-2 right now, and they've scored 150 points and have allowed 120. But take that as a grain of salt, because really what's transformed here is Drake May's running of the offense and how more comfortable he looks in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Early on, very beginning, when the Raiders traveled out to New England week 1 and the Raiders stole a game from New England, Drake May and company, they were out of sorts. You could tell, like they weren't comfortable. They were working on things and working on personnel and all that jazz. But now you look at them and they're like, ooh, maybe New England's going to be something this year, possibly giving the Buffalo Bills a run for their money for this division at the conclusion of the season. So they're another team to me that, as of recent few games that they've had, they seem to be getting better and better, and that's dangerous for that division.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, they've got some winnable games coming up, and then also a couple of tight ones. They've got the Buccaneers coming up in a little bit, but this week they get to play the Tennessee Titans here as the
Oh,
revenge game kind of
is
for Mike Vrabel.
that a layup? Are we calling that a
At
layup
this point
game at
at
this
this point,
point?
right? At this point, right?
I mean, listen, nothing's going to be sweeter for Mike Vrabel, who got fired from the Titans, to
Right.
play against them and the owner. By the way, we've had that
Yeah.
conversation too. Owner making in Tennessee making rash decisions and firing guys like Mike Vrabel and firing now Brian Callahan, knee jerk reactions and whatnot. And now Vrabel has come back home to New England as the new head coach and is going to be playing against his former team and former boss to kind of put a little staple, little exclamation point, if you will, and saying,
Right.
"You should have never got rid of me. Look at what I've done in one off season with this team."
Right. And I almost seems like though too, like when Amy Adams drunk made this call to
Drunk?
fire,
Is
yeah,
that her
to
last name? Drunk?
yeah, yeah,
Might as well
drunk.
be.
Drunk might as well be. She's just drunk. You slur it together with the S. Amy Adams is drunk.
Drunk.
uh, the when she made this call even to fire Brian Callahan, it was one, yeah, of course, weak because she wasn't there making the press conference afterwards and explaining herself for the whole thing either. And we all kind of know too what it was coming or whatever.
Yeah.
But to do it right before the Mike Vrabel game, she's almost doing it as like, well, all right, here's a layup now. It's our interim head coach. So you beat us, but I wouldn't put much into it because, we were just starting off with another coach or, it seems really callous too, like
I
hiding from Vrabel in a sense to me,
I
you
don't
know?
even think I don't think it's even that, thought that much thought out there. I think you're giving her too much credit. Um,
I don't know, man. Women
I
do a
think it's
lot of
just
crazy
I
shit,
think it's
Joe,
just one of those things where this is a owner that is inexperienced and it shows. And I'm not faulting her for deciding to fire Brian Callahan because that team is god awful. Like the offense is horrendous and the defense is on the field too much, so obviously they're not playing as well as they'd like to be. But these knee jerk decisions that she continues to make as an owner, going sifting through coaches like it's chewing bubble gum. It's kind of crazy, and I don't even know if there's going to be much suitors that are going to be interested in this job because of her decision making. So that's going to be a
Exactly.
whole other topic to talk about in the off season,
Mhm.
but definitely going to be interesting when we get to that point because there's going to be teams like Tennessee that is looking for new direction, new leadership, and to see where they all head.
Yeah, that's the thing. It would be who wants to come to this organization, when it's like this, a kind of, debacle like that, ownership, making
Yeah.
those types of decisions and hiding from it all and stuff and putting it on the other personnel. So,
I'd like to
yeah, that's the
draw
big thing. Who wants to go there?
I'd like to draw attention, Jim, to one of the
Sure.
most disastrous divisions in the league, and that is the AFC West.
That
On
is one big
how
pile of shit.
messy and still question riddled type of division that this is.
Mm,
We thought coming in for the most part,
mhm,
we kind of agreed a little bit on the LA Chargers being one of the potential favorites of maybe dethroning the Chiefs this year, maybe taking over this division. And although they're tied right now for first in the division at 4-2, they're also
mhm,
tied with the Denver Broncos, who's slightly emerging this year, have fought some tough games, but playing great defense. Besides the Texans right now, their defense for points against, they only have 95 points against. I mean, they're
mhm,
playing great defense, but the offense needs to do their
mhm.
part as well. Um, but again, they're tied for first with the Chargers. Then we get to the Chiefs, which has kind of been an enigma of itself. 3-3 at this point. This is uncharacteristic of what we have seen recently from the Chiefs. Usually they're leading early and all the way through the season and winning that division in the end. But now it seems like this team is kind of transformed for the worst and not the positive. Now, maybe things change like it did last week against the Lions, where all of a sudden they figured out how to play offense again. They're getting back Rashee Rice this week, so that's going to be a big deal for them. Their number one wide receiver returning. Maybe that turns the tide. Maybe they end up climbing back up to the division. But again, overall, this team I'll say this whole division is still an absolute mess.
Mhm. Yeah, it's all over the place. And this is kind of interesting with the Chiefs again, because with this league being the way it is now, where again, like you said, you don't trust anybody, it's still anybody's
Yeah,
game here, anybody's thing. Where the Bills even had every shot to kind of run away with some of these,
yeah,
it's one thing
yeah.
even losing to Atlanta, but the week
Mhm,
before, like, come on,
mhm,
you can't be doing that. The Chiefs are down, the Ravens are down.
mhm.
Here's your shot.
Yeah,
Let's
so take
do
it
it.
over. Yep.
Get it so high. You're the number one seed. You get the back, and then maybe the Chiefs got to come in as a wild card, whatever, and they're going to be even middle of the pack. They're not like the
Mhm,
8 seed or whatever they might have to play later. You know, you can avoid them at least for one point and to an extent. Maybe somebody else knocks them out, but
right.
you start losing, and now the Chiefs are gaining momentum. And again, coming up, a couple winnable games. They could definitely beat the Raiders. They could beat the Commanders.
I mean,
And then
hold on,
you've got the Bills right there. So
hold on,
you could have made a statement game right there, Joe.
hold on, Jim. Did you just say they can beat the Raiders?
Yeah.
It's not can be, like,
No,
it's
I
just
know.
it's a certainty at this point
Right.
with how
Yeah.
bad they're playing. So, yeah, the Chiefs are gonna get an automatic win, much like the Patriots are
Mhm.
gonna get an automatic win this week, and I love my Raiders, but it is what it is. I'm being completely honest that they're just not playing good football, and it's absolutely terrible to watch. So, the Chiefs are gonna come in there after having a big game against the Lions. They're gonna be able to kinda just it's almost gonna be like a bye week for them, basically. Like, they're gonna be able to go against the Raiders, have a nice easy game, and, leave with a W, and everything is it. And then they're 4-3 after this week. And now, guess what? Now, if either one of those teams, the Broncos or the Chargers, happen to lose, now the Chiefs are second. Now,
Mhm.
if they both lose, now the Chiefs are back in first place in the division. So
Mhm.
you can see how basically the whole league is kinda like this in a sense where there's a lot of teams that we had an idea that they were going to be this good, like, they were gonna be, like, one of the top teams, and now we're going into week 7, and we have questions about every team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And like you said, moving forward in 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there again, the Chiefs will be playing the Bills. So that's going to be a matchup at that point. Who
Yeah.
knows? You know what I mean? Around the trade deadline, do some of these teams make a decision to go get, another wide receiver? Do the Bills
Mhm.
try and do that to reload to try and get another weapon there or something? Who knows? But that's going to be a matchup, especially if these teams are really close in, win-loss column and vying for a spot. That's going to matter, come playoff time. So another week squandered for the Bills against the Falcons, and another opportunity for the Chiefs again to pull out a victory again, and somehow. Well, we know how, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, somehow,
And
somehow,
hey,
like,
you down your Raiders, but I picked them last week and they end up winning.
yeah,
How
they're
about that?
lucky. They're even
Hey,
lucky with
played
that.
the Titans, all right. So
Yeah, they played the worst team in football,
no,
coached by
got the
one of the
Bills,
worst
Joe, or
coaches
not the
I've
Bills. We
ever
got the
seen.
Jets. The Jets are probably the worst team right now, especially seeing they
I don't
haven't
know,
gotten
man.
in.
Tennessee to me is the worst team right now. They're
I,
absolutely terrible.
I don't know. They've been
They can't
close in some games, but I get it. Both
they can't
teams poorly
listen.
coached.
All right,
Yes.
so the Tennessee Titans, right? Let me tell you this right
I
now.
get it. Yeah.
Even though the Jets are winless right now,
Mhm.
0-6, they've put up 123 points for. Now the Tennessee Titans, they haven't even met triple digits. They're 83 points
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
they put
yeah.
up.
No, yeah.
That's on
Yeah.
Brian Callahan
Uh-huh,
and that
uh-huh,
coaching staff.
uh-huh.
I mean, and if you wanna say, "Oh, well, what about their defenses?" Well, the Titans have given up 161 points, and I don't believe it's their fault, the defense's fault,
Mhm.
because they're on the field way too much. But then the Jets have also one of those defenses that we kind of thought coming in that they might be top 10, maybe top 15 type of a defense, but they've given up 170. So you see the difference isn't that big, but at least the Jets can score points. So, I mean, to me, Tennessee is just too much of a struggle. And what a terrible first year for Cam Ward to come into a team that is really not prepared to win or
Yeah.
even have a shot.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you see Mike Vrabel on the other side with the Patriots doing what he's doing, with Drake May on that side and those
Yeah,
guys.
but he never even knew about Mike. He doesn't even know who that is.
Yeah, no, no. It's funny though when he's out there, he's interviewed and he calls his own team ass.
I love it.
You
The
know it.
honesty.
You
It's
know it.
honest. Being
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that. It what's funny is like when you look at the say let's look at the Dolphins, right? And Tua's out there saying questioning people's fight and stuff like that in the locker room and stuff. And everybody's
Right.
looking at Tua like,
Yeah.
oh, there's things you should say, on the
Mhm,
podium and blah blah blah
mhm.
and calling people out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. You say it in the locker room enough and they don't say anything. Maybe then it is time to say it out there in public. Maybe he has said something to him. You know what I'm saying? But
Gotta,
you
do
gotta light a
something
fire
different
somewhere.
and rash in order to have a different outcome, I guess.
Yeah, 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 definitely, Joe. So, yeah, a lot to talk about here. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about the Eagles again. Yes, the Eagles are in the headlines once more
Have to.
about their struggling offense. Jalen Hurts looks terrible for a top five a quarterback. Can we just say he is what he thought he was? Like, can we just admit this one now and just be, do we get the dinger and say we were right on this
Yeah,
one?
you might as well
I mean,
just
you
hit
got to
that.
you got to hit
I
the
mean,
dinger. So we're right on this one.
listen, we win on that whole debate, no doubt about it. Listen, Jalen Hurts has been a shell of himself this year. It is what it is, and even with and you can't say, "Oh, well, the receivers aren't getting open." No, they're
No.
getting wide open.
Mm.
AJ Brown has been open multiple times this year, every single week, and even though he sees them sometimes, he overthrows them all the time. Uh, Deontay Smith, he's getting open. He wants more touchdowns, but for some reason they can't connect there either. Like um, this team is in big time has a lot of question marks on what they are going. What kind of team are they going to be down the stretch of the season? Are they going to be this kind of playoff caliber team, Super Bowl caliber team that we've seen last year? I understand that there's been a few changes on the roster, of course, but again, as a core of your team, you still have everybody. You still have guys like the missing link. I mean, right now, currently offensively, is really the only guy, Landon Dickerson, due to injury on the offensive line. That's really it. You have this. Everybody's the same.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I mean, what's the problem? Everybody kind of pointed their finger at play calling, and I get it. The offensive coordinator has been relieved of his duties,
Mhm.
and they're going to go a different direction with that. And good thing because not all the calls didn't make sense sometimes, and maybe that attributed to Jalen Hurts and a little bit, anyways. I'm not saying that's where most of the blame goes. It still falls on Jalen Hurts, but again, it's about execution. Like Jalen Hurts really has to step his game up. Really, I mean, the blame can't go anywhere else but him.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And on the opposite side, when we were talking about, the Falcons and what they were doing, way better. It's the opposite. It's like now Bijan Robinson, he's like the new Saquon Barkley right there. Saquon barely getting anything. They're ranked 30th in yards here for on the offense. And it used to be even their running game, but they're 25th in the run and 29th in the pass. So they're terrible on all phases. Still, like you said, have the same stars there. Saquon's not getting open. He's not getting in some good looks. Jalen Hurts just missing guys. You've got AJ
Yeah.
Brown wide open, and he's not going to throw it to him. So now it's almost apparent that there is something like these guys don't like each other or something like that. But even if that is the fact, you're trying to win a damn football game. How do you not
Mhm.
just throw the guy the ball? It's not even that he's double covered. If he's double covered, he's still a guy that you throw the ball up to it and he comes down with it 90% of the time. But he's lined up open on a guy, and then one on one, if you see him one on one, you're like, all right, I got you. You're it. You're the one. No, yeah, he throws it to like the out route, gets a turnover. Like, what are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? Sitting there,
Y-
drop back, overthrow him. Like you said, he's wide open and just like,
All
nah, I
that's
ain't gonna get you that.
that's
What the frig
consistently.
is that, dude?
That's consistently, and AJ Brown isn't even being covered. Like, there's a guy trying to stay with him clearly, but
Mhm.
he's got a 2-yard gap on him, which is wide open in the NFL, and he's still overthrowing them. Like the chemistry that was there last year is completely gone this year for some reason. Now, if it's Jalen Hurts self-destructing, then he's only hurting himself. He's not going to hurt AJ Brown. AJ Brown's either going to remain an Eagle. I mean, we are approaching the trade deadline, so if he's that unhappy and the Eagles aren't going to say, "Hey, we want to continue paying you," then maybe that is a conversation that they have. Maybe they do end up trading AJ Brown by the deadline. Because if it's not working with Hurts and he's not really helping your team, then you might as well get some draft picks or something for the future. So that's a whole other conversation. But I will say
Mhm.
this, that it all falls on Jalen Hurts offensively in my book. But on the other hand, you look at this defense too, that isn't as powerful as they used to be either. This is a team that consistently is now missing Jalen Carter this past week. Looks like he might be missing another game this week. We'll have to kind of evaluate that as the week goes on. But again, one guy doesn't make a team. One guy doesn't make a defense or an offense. But Carter is kind of really critical for this team on the defensive line. And without him, that
Mhm.
D line just doesn't look the same. And I understand they don't have the same guys in the same spots, but again, when you kind of really drill down into it, Quinyon Mitchell missing time, that really hurts them. And then on the opposite side, there's no answer on the opposite side. Adoree Jackson, they thought could possibly be the answer, but the guy consistently gives up plays and big plays and first downs, and teams are doing whatever they want on one side of the ball against the Eagles. So
Mhm.
Kaylee Ringo was also a draft pick in the 4th round in 23 for them. They were hoping to groom him. He could end up being that other corner for them, and he's terrible. Like he's a bust. We can label him now officially a bust. He's not going to do nothing. And then newly acquired Jacorin Bennett, who they traded from the Raiders for, he's injured as well. So it's like this team just can't seem to get healthy enough defensively and can't figure out the right personnel for this season. So it's not just offense. That's kind of like the major problem for the Eagles, but
Mhm.
also it is also defensively they're having issues as
Oh
well.
yeah, absolutely. And you heard it when I was bringing up some of the numbers. I mean, yeah, it's terrible right now. Um, Shout out to Dan's out there. He's a
What's going
Bills
on, Dan?
fan. He's still excited out there, as a Bills fan. He says, how about we bring AJ to the Bills? That would be amazing for them because that's what I mean. They're looking for a target here, Josh Allen. Um, yeah, absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Do they decide to make that trade, Joe? I mean, that's crazy if they do. But if things are really that bad there, and who knows, they could be. I mean, you're watching during the game when they're still like in it against the Giants, right? And you're
Mhm.
seeing Devonta Smith and AJ Brown talking to each other on the sidelines with their hands over their mouth, like just like this, and just talking with each other.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of players whenever they talk to each other, they're always putting something over just so you don't see what they're talking about, no matter what. But with the expressions on their face still, it did not look very good.
No, not at all. And those
It
are
wasn't good.
conversations that are on a need to know basis, and we don't need to know until something gets reported, right? So uh, we're alluding to AJ Brown getting possibly traded before the trade deadline, and maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Um,
Mhm.
but if it doesn't, they got to figure things out. They got to get him more involved, and if they get AJ Brown more involved, in turn, that helps out everybody else. It helps out, Deontay Smith. It helps out Saquon Barkley, and that's the other thing too is you can't completely say, "Oh, well, Saquon Barkley is struggling this year." No, it's because that teams are really ganging up and stopping the run because they know how badly Jalen Hurts has been playing. So wouldn't you take away their best asset and shut down the run game if you can? Make Jalen Hurts throw the football who's been struggling? Like that to me seems like a recipe to beat the Eagles right now. And until they figure things out, it's probably going to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Dan out there. It's always good when he jumps on. And we've got one of our OG know-it-alls in there. It's Mike Tackett's in the house
What's
with
going
us
on, Mike?
tonight.
Hashtag know-it-alls.
All right, here he goes. He goes, bigger fired coach mistake. Lovie Smith from Chicago or Jim Caldwell from Detroit. Both had a 5.563 record with their former team. Detroit is doing just fine now, but Chicago put a nail in their own coffin.
I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I think Lovie Smith is probably the bigger coaching mistake. You know, Lovie Smith in Chicago, they were competitive, they were tough, they were physical, and they always seemed to be in games. So it's like I understand the whole, need or want to win now or to win relatively soon. Uh, but that was a coach that I felt was one fit the Chicago Bears environment, fit the team, and two, I think that was a bigger loss because, like, you look at the Detroit Lions now. Obviously, the Lions are one of the more powerful teams in the league, and like I said, hindsight's 2020. But like, look at the coach they got. They got a better coach than Jim Caldwell. They got a better team overall. So the decision making process that has led up to this point, Detroit did better. Chicago is still kind of in flux a little bit. They got their hopefully the answer to their head coaching woes with Ben Johnson. Maybe he turns the tide. Is it with Caleb Williams? Maybe, maybe not. For me personally, and Jim might say the same thing, but like for me personally, I was never a big fan of Caleb Williams coming out of college. I think that this guy still has a long way to go in the NFL, and Ben Johnson's doing his due diligence, and he's working with them, and you can see some sparks here and there on the offense, but I don't think he's quite there yet.
Yeah, some sparks that are kind of there. He can hit some balls on the target, but then also mentally, I think it is too. Not seeing things, the decision making. Yeah, absolutely. Missing guys that are open, knowing where the right check down is or whatnot.
Or take the easy play.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so as far as a bigger mistake, I mean, I think they're both were mistakes in hiring them. So as far as firing them, I think they weren't mistakes at all. I mean, you had to move on from either of them. Lovie Smith didn't do well after that anywhere. He went to Houston and it was pretty much fired like right after this first season, right? One thing he did do though, he did draft Derek Stingley though, so that was good for him, right? But again, Caldwell, he tried another coaching job here with Indianapolis, didn't do well either there. So I think both just they needed to move on either way. Yes, Detroit ended up finding their coach, but Chicago, some franchises just don't get it. They just don't get it right. They've been dealing with trying to get coaches, quarterbacks forever. Like we've talked about the Bears with the chance at trying to get quarterbacks, just as bad as the Cleveland Browns just can't find one. What was the last quarterback that they drafted that was really truly good that was theirs? You know what I mean? You have to go back and what was Jim McMahon drafted by the Bears? I mean, because that's probably it. Everybody remembers Jay Cutler, but he wasn't drafted by the Bears. So how far do you have to go back? So, I mean, there's been issues throughout with these franchises. I'm excited for the Detroit Lions, what they can do. And I think they do have the coach that, of the current time and for the future, even right now.
Yeah. Christian, one of our know-it-alls chimes in and says, how about them Giants, baby? The Giants fans are going to rejoice and be super excited because they pulled off one of the biggest upsets of their recent memory, and that is the Eagles. So, kudos to you, Christian. And by the way, everyone, Christian was at the game. Giants fan, obviously, was at the game and had a great drive home after that one.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, how about that, man? We talked about it. We're like, man, upset alert. And then we were joking about how upset the drive home would be. But hey, how about that? There you go. You know what I mean? That's got to be wonderful. First time they beat the Eagles in years and beat somebody in the division in years. So kudos to the Giants here. They really brought their A game in that one.
I love this comment, Jim.
It's exciting to see what these two young rookies can do.
Daniel said, but how far can you go with a quarterback that likes to paint his nails?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Now, and you see it. You see with some of these guys when they come to the line too, and you look at him, and you're like, I don't think this guy knows how to read a defense, right? You're kind of looking at him, and you're just like, I think he knows what the play is. He's going to do the play,
Yeah.
but you don't see him alerting anybody. You don't see him like reading the defense. I mean, calling for a different play. Audibling, and I think that's where he kind of lacks too as well.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, what do we got? We got a bunch of comments up out here.
Christian said it's been 10 years since the Giants won Thursday Night Football. Dan says best throwing quarterback for the Bears was Jay Cutler. He didn't paint his nails, though.
There you go. And he wasn't drafted by him, though, too, right? Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
There, spitting facts. Rise Up has something he wants to tell everyone. He goes, how's it feel to lose to the Dirty Birds? We're doing some trash talking here. Oh, boy. Bills are bums.
Bills are bums. Buns or bums? Buns.
Mike Tackett just chimed in and said, is Matt Rule the answer for Penn State? We've seen how he can't win the big games at Nebraska and Baylor. And we all know he couldn't win at Carolina. Maybe a dark horse NFL candidate like Mike McDaniel. That's an interesting idea. Maybe if the Dolphins, fire Mike McDaniel, he's free to go. You might have a team like Penn State, give a call for him because he is creative with his offense. I think he would work out to be an amazing offensive mind in college. Imagine all that misdirection and RPOs and whatnot. So yeah, that would be an interesting candidate for sure. Matt Rule, I just can't buy into Matt Rule ever since I've seen him, with the Panthers and how lackluster that team played. And look at the other two coaching stints he's had, like you mentioned, Mike, Nebraska and Baylor.
Yeah, I agree. I know they have like ties there and stuff, and everybody's saying Matt Rule and stuff, but yeah, I don't agree with that one either. On the same stance that you guys have brought up, I agree.
Josh Allen is
buns. I don't agree with that.
Had it from Rise Up right
there. Yeah, and I've said, I've knocked Josh Allen from time to time. Again, I talked about it. Some people say, he's a gunslinger. Gunslinger. I always say here, when I hear gunslinger, I say here reckless, and he has been. I mean, this year he's been still making some good plays with his legs, but he's out there trying to do it on his own. And you saw that on display when he gets pressured too. He doesn't trust anybody out there. So
Christian says on the same day Saquon was supposed to release his documentary and run all over us. I don't think so. Yeah, because the Giants showed up and showed out. So kudos to you, Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. You know how many Giants were interviewed for all that show and everything too? I mean, it's crazy. It's good. It's good to bring it back up.
Rise Up has planted his flag and said Bijan is easily the best back in the league. Only competition is Jonathan Taylor.
I agree. I said that earlier. I agree. It's not up for debate. How about that?
Everything's up for debate.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Hey,
you know what?
Within the same season, I said, I don't know if he's a top 5. You said then he was, and now I'm crowning him. He's the best right now, and he is though. He is right now. He's lighting it up.
Easily top 3. But here's my thing, and this is what makes debate fun, is the fact that anytime there's a debate on a player or team or whatnot, it always comes down to preference of the person. So like, if you like a more physical back, a power back, something like that, you know what I mean? Maybe you might have those guys ranked higher than maybe the quick, elusive guy. You know what I mean? So it really does come down to opinion based as well. Christian agrees.
Yep. You want to talk about who's buns though? How about the Cowboys? Right?
Their defense is buns.
Their
offense is good.
Yeah, their offense is
still working.
Yeah, they can do okay. It's Pickens, George Pickens, and then they can run the ball every now and then. It's just crazy. If he doesn't push off and get open, I mean, it's nothing. But losing to the Carolina Panthers, and that's why this Carolina Panthers team, they're weird, man. You know what I mean? They'll lose to like a team that's kind of trash too, and you're like, all right, well, they're just bad, right? But then they'll just fight and grind and then fight up against a team that, like look at the Dallas Cowboys offensively can put it to them, but then they kind of gave it back to them on defense, and we're able to grind one out and get a tough win. And sorry, Dirty Birds again. We know what they did to Atlanta. You know what I mean? They're sitting there playing competitive. So they're an interesting team to watch going forward. Like nobody really expects them to do anything, and I still don't. But to see them turning a corner now with Canales as a head coach, maybe when there was questions on whether he was the answer or not, maybe they do turn it around here, and now he is the answer for this team moving forward.
Yeah, Christian did have in the comment section. He goes, one of the worst defenses of all time. They can't stop a cold. And Rise Up says Cowboys are the only offense better than the Falcons, but their defense is 32nd.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. One of their first defense of all time. Yeah. 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 I know. Can't stop a wet paper bag. It was terrible. So, I'm interested to watch the Giants when they go to play the Cowboys again. I mean, it's totally different look
But
with
yes,
with
100%.
with Cam
Jackson
Scatterboo
Dart.
and company, and Jackson Dart, big time. Both these guys, big playmakers. And that game, let me ask, well, we're talking about Giants real quick, again, the whole tent situation. What's your guys' take on that? Again, I know the rule where the coach isn't supposed to go into the tent and everything. And I know you're want to get them back quickly. You're excited you want to go in there, but you can't go in the blue tent. Scatterboo just goes wherever he wants. I mean, for him, I think you still got to give him a pass just because I don't think anybody's telling Scatterboo no anywhere. You know what I mean? So, but that, we're not sure what the fine's going to be yet or not. Some people I've heard are talk about draft picks and stuff, which I think is crazy, but I don't know. I mean,
it's
I know
how
that's the rule.
serious
You can't be in there. So
it's how serious that rule is. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like the rules are put in place for a reason. Obviously, sometimes they're skewed a little bit. Sometimes they're kind of overinflated by the league, whatnot, in terms of punishments. But I will say this: did anybody check out the video that I posted in our group? Because it was stemming from this incident, and it's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. It's basically a video of Brian Daboll storming into the tent saying, "Come on, Jackson, let's go. You're good. He's good. Let him go. Let him go. We need him back in there. Russell Wilson's trying to throw the game." You know what I mean? It's hilarious. It's if you haven't checked it out, it's hilarious. Obviously, it's AI driven, but it's
Mhm.
freaking funny as hell. But yeah,
Yeah,
that
how bad was that, right? Like nobody wanted to see Russell Wilson back in that game anyways, right? But you being a veteran, you're, just got your job taken. You think that you're going to run a play. Usually when a quarterback goes in, on an injury, and you're the
Mhm.
backup, it's like run, if you do 2 plays, right? They're not going to do crazy. They entrust him to throw the ball on a couple of set of downs to where,
Mhm.
it was 3rd down and he just threw it right in the dirt. Like, what the frig was that? Like, that's
Yep.
your moment to prove that you can still do it to any other team if there is a potential trade and you throw it in the dirt. That's why that meme is funny, I think, because again, he's trying to throw the game. It's like, doosh. Like, what the hell was that? Yeah, I watched that. I was like, oh my God. And that's why Brian Daboll lost it. I think that's what I mean.
Yeah.
He turned into a different person. It was like,
Mhm.
I gotta get this guy back here. Where is he? So I mean, it was nuts. Dan wants to know what dispensary we went to get whatever we're smoking, and potentially people in the comments. Maybe he's directing that towards.
Yeah, because I'm not high right now, so
Yeah, I know, right?
that
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
apply to me.
yeah, I don't get high either. Dable just can't do that. Bad look. I was too busy booing Russ off the field at that terrible throw. Exactly. Yeah, I know. To be a fan and watch that, oh my gosh.
Here's the bigger question, everybody. After this year, do you think Russell Wilson has a home elsewhere?
Mm, yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Dan,
know.
real question. Do you trust your grandma to throw a pass or Russell Wilson?
My grandma. Definitely my
Yeah.
grandmother.
Yeah, they're doing amazing things with old people right now. So
Taking the blue pill.
Yeah. But that's why even some people, I was listening to Jordan Ron on today again too, to where they're even like, yes, you put Russell Wilson in. When you said, yeah, I have to start him, that was the deal. You're a guaranteed starter to be here. And even though Brian Daboll wanted to put Jackson Dart in, you saw that when he kept sprinkling him into the offense, he was dying to put him in. Finally gets him in. Why not in that part even too? What do you do with Jameis Winston again? You don't trust Jameis Winston at all over what Russell Wilson just did. You know what I'm saying? So what are we doing here? Even holding on to Jameis Winston at that point, or even just not making him number 2 and getting rid of Russ, All right, Dan says, well, the fact you are making the choices without going to the dispensary is sad. Oh, okay. Oh boy, that's good
I'm
stuff.
surprised you even read it.
Yeah, well, that's why I kind of read it like that. Da-da. Okay. Oh well, Dan is obviously went to the dispensary, so that's why he's spitting what he's spitting because he was all excited out there. Dirty Birds spitting game out there. So yeah, we talked about a lot of different things. Trust issues with teams out there. The Eagles debauchery, or whatever that might be, whatever word that is. And so let's move on to the picks, Joe. How about that? Let's get our picks going. Um, We've had some pretty good games, especially on Thursday night lately. It's very surprising. This one, I don't think will be. Well, it might be. You know, if you look at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Joe Flacco actually at the helm now, when you're not going to see, Jake Browning. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think they'll play better, but still, that defense, not very good. What do we got
Rise
here?
of Dirty Birds has says guess the last time a wide receiver running back duo had 170 plus rushing yards and 150 plus receiving yards aside from Monday Night Football was Week 18 against Carolina, where it was Drake London and Bijan again.
Again, look at that.
Look at
That's a
that, and
nifty
then
know-it-all fact of the day. I
yeah,
like it.
know it all fact of the day.
I
Also
like
said
that.
they're the only duo to do it twice in league history. So there you
Excellent.
go. There's another
Another
fact.
tidbit. I love it.
Back
Love
to
it.
back.
There you go.
Hashtag know it all.
We love it. We love the
There you go.
know-it-alls out there.
And Dan had to say go Bills.
Yeah, and then he just
And
right so said this got dog walked. Oh man, it is. They got exposed. They got exposed. You know, it's about time somebody exposed the Bills for what they are. You know what I mean? I mean, we knew that, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
that we knew that was what the Bills were. All right, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Pittsburgh, I think, has the best chance at this one, even though Joe Flacco's doing better for them. Cincinnati doesn't have a real great defense. I'm going to take the Steelers in this one Thursday night. Not crazy.
that to me is easily the
Easy.
deciding factor of this game
Yes.
is the Steelers defense, is definitely superior to what the Bengals have on defense. With I'll say this, Joe Flacco, this will be his second start. I don't know how comfortable he actually is in the Cincinnati offense. Obviously, he has great weapons, but I'm curious to see just how much more they expand on the playbook in his second week. It might not be enough. So I'm going to go with old man Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers to get the win.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, you can't deny it on this one at this point, right? So here we go. Sunday, the Rams and Jacksonville. Jacksonville again. What a laid an egg. You know, you're coming off that hangover of beating the Chiefs, and you lay an egg and play terrible. Go back to resorting to being a terrible team. It's funny how that happens. So I can't trust them anymore. The Rams again, not putting like you said, they haven't hit their stride yet. So
No.
I think this is going to be a tough game, but I'm going to take the Rams in this one still to kind of start that off here and try and get it going.
Yeah, this game in particular, it's interesting because the Jaguars kind of like they lost their way in a sense, last week, and I don't know, they're
They're
playing
high.
very differently. They might be high. They might have hit some pretty good weed in Florida, and they don't want to share. So I get the LA Rams again. They're the ones that are going to be traveling the most in Europe at 9:30 a.m. It makes it very interesting to see when the Rams decide to travel. Obviously, I think they're going to be smart enough to leave a lot earlier, so that way they can at least try to acclimate to the new environment. The Jaguars, this is basically like home to them. They're always playing games in the UK every year.
Mhm.
I think they're more comfortable, but I still going to go with the better roster. I'm going to go with the Rams on this one, getting the better of the Jaguars.
All right, we've got a new person in the comments. Paul Practico Jr. is in the house.
What's going on, Paul?
He says, "What are you talking about, Bill Belichick?" I don't know what that means. And then he says, "And Krosky Merritt." Okay, so we have multiple people that are high right now in the chat. Maybe him and Dan both go to the same dispensary, potentially. Maybe they go together. Yeah, yeah. And then Christian says, I feel like anyone should be able to get to Chase and Higgins, though.
Anyone?
Yeah,
You got to be a decent quarterback. You
yeah.
can't just.
Well, Jake Browning, or he's like, here,
Hey,
hold
so
my
wait,
beer.
hold
I
on,
got
hold on,
hello. He was
hold on.
throwing it to the defense more than he was throwing it to them.
Hold on. So
You
if we do Geno Smith, do you think they still has the same success? Do
Nah.
we go Bryce Young? Do we still think he has the same success?
Mhm.
Like, nah, I don't think so.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get it there. Yeah. So but the thing is with Cincinnati too, they got to be able to stay balanced too, because Joe Flacco ain't doing crazy and stuff. So get Chase Brown going. All right. Rise Up says, we beating the Niners. Who's their answer on defense for Bijan and Drake? Yeah, that's the problem, man. They're just so banged up right now. I like Mac Jones. You guys could probably check it out in the short that I did on Grumblings Media that's got over 1,300 views right now. And I think that was a good fill in for them. And he's doing some good things for them, enough to kind of get the ship afloat a little bit for him. But the 49ers, man, they really got their work cut out for him, and they got some tough matchups down the road. All right,
100%.
next. Yeah. We've got the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears, Joe. New Orleans, both teams that
Jesus.
are just still competing. Like New Orleans puts up some good points against some teams, but just can't really pull out a win unless you're the New York Football Giants. But Chicago, again, I'm not really sold on them either. Again, they really got lucky in that last game. Although, again, like you said, when you look at Caleb Williams, he does make some plays, but then at the same time, there's opportunities where they could have really dominated the Washington Commanders the other night. So they're tough to read.
The Bears are always tough to read. The Saints are another team that when we kind of wrote off the Saints before the season started because of lack of quarterback decisions, who they're going to go with. Everybody was wondering, and then this team is also aging. Like they are getting older, longer in the tooth. On defense and even some of their offensive players, Alvin Kamara included. Um, I don't like this game at all. I got to be honest. Like, I mean, if I got to pick somebody, I'm going to pick probably the Bears because they're home and the fact that they have a really good
Yeah.
defense. We know that. The Saints, again, they're still trying to find their way offensively. I think they're going to give them, a tough competitive game, but in the end, I kind of go with the Bears because they're home.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bears too as well. Same kind of thing. Their defense, their home, and New Orleans again. I don't think they have enough to get it done. There's even rumors right now that they possibly could be shopping Chris Olave, and that the Giants maybe be a landing spot if that's an opportunity. If the Giants are calling and asking about wide receivers out there, because they don't believe in New Orleans of him going to be give him a deal that he might want. They don't see him as a number one really. So
He
we'll see
probably
what
don't even
happens
want to
going
be
down.
there.
No, he probably doesn't.
I mean,
So I mean that's something we could look into too. If New Orleans keeps losing, who are they selling? At this point. So
Alvin Kamara has been rumored
mhm,
to be on the trade block, but
mhm.
again, they don't want to continue to pay Alvin Kamara, and I feel like that's the driving force
Yeah.
for the discussions that are being had.
Mhm. All right, next, the Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland with their new rookie quarterback, and Miami they just look terrible again, man. They're just a mess. Internally too, again, where Tua calling people out, saying they don't show up for the meetings that are mandatory that they're supposed to be there, and they're not even there. So it's a debacle. All right,
Daniel
another
said,
game.
"Do you two think? Do you two honestly think that Jersey can make the playoffs?"
No,
No,
no, I
no,
don't think
not
so.
at all.
Nope. There you go. You had our straight up honesty. I think they could win some games again. Uh,
To win
this
some games, they'll
definitely
probably.
right. And with the way again Jackson Dart's playing, it just opens up a different, type of scheme, a different opportunity, different what they were doing before. So one thing too is he's got to be able to stay healthy. He's got to learn to get down, not lead with your helmet.
Mhm.
I mean, do the smart thing. It's fine if you want to try to make a play, you want to do this and that, but you're not unstoppable. And then you'll be affecting the team. You can not care about your own health, but care about the team too as well.
Yeah, Christian said, "How long y'all think it takes Kellen Moore to turn them around?" Um, being how they're always kind of behind the 8 ball in financials with salary
Mm,
cap and always trying to figure out a way to get back under the cap at the last 3 seasons, and
mhm,
they're also losing more and more talent every year, it's gonna have to be a complete rebuild.
mhm.
Obviously, they drafted Tyler Shook as a quarterback, hoping that he can be the future, but right now it's Spencer Rattler's turn. But I think that their offensive line is really solid, it's intact, but so that gives them a leg up. But I would say another 2 years
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be a betting man. I see another
Yeah.
2 years for them to be competitive.
Yep, I agree. I was gonna say 2 years. Again, they're invested in, yeah, I would give them that at least 2 years, because to put your name on it, do what you need to do, and like you said, they're in full rebuild after this. So let's see what he does with it and see what happens. So yeah, I don't think it's a quick turnaround at all.
Mhm.
So Miami, Cleveland. I don't trust Miami at all. Cleveland, I think they got really good defense. I think Dylan Gabriel's playing good still. I mean, not terrible. Not turning the ball over to making them lose games.
Mhm.
So I think he's got enough to get it done here. I'm going with Cleveland on this one.
Yeah, for me, this is not very really difficult of a decision here. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns as well. Dylan Gabriel playing solid at quarterback, especially for his first stint as a starter. And like Jim said, limiting turnovers, not making any, and they have a decent running game now. So that's something that Kevin Stefanski thrives off of. Give me the Browns and their good defense.
Mhm, mhm. We got a bunch of stuff going on in the comments I haven't even been paying attention to, Joe. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, Daniel, the Jags confuse you both, don't they? So that mean the Jags, okay? But I don't more than you do. What the hell? Did Dan like just lose?
I don't know.
Like he just like
Having a stroke.
forget the
I think.
English? Is he? Somebody check on Dan. See if he's stroking right now. That Bills loss must have really. He must have took it hard over there. Christian's loving it right now though too. He's out there dying. All right. What was the comment you had up here, Joe? Sorry. I pulled that
It's
off
too
here.
late. It's gone.
All right. So we got a bunch of comments out there. 49ers are so banged up. 49ers are done for the year. Also, you can never call them the New York Giants. They are the New Jersey Giants. Yes, we hear that every time from Dan. Uh how long do you think it takes Gilmore? We saw that one. Oh, he goes, I hope they don't give up too much to get him. He misses too much time. We need all of our picks due to Joe Shane swinging and missing so much. Yeah, that's the thing too. If the Giants do decide to try and trade for somebody, that's just crazy too, because you're just giving away picks that you already just gave away too. So I mean, you're going to be limiting yourself in the
Mhm,
draft coming next year. So
mhm,
for me, it would be a smarter move to say, hey, who's out there free agency that knows maybe again Isaiah Hodgins, if he's out there too, try and bring him in. He already knows the system, something like that, just to get some more depth, just in case. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Because again, you got to know what your expectations, right? You got to know your expectations. People say expectations change throughout the season. Say they get a couple more wins, like, oh, well, now you got to go in and now you can make the playoffs.
mhm.
Chill, bro. Like I'm not about that. I'm like, hey, dude, something we're winning. We're growing right now. Let's just grow. I don't need to make drastic moves that hinder my future for right now. I don't care about right now.
Yeah,
As
you're not
long as
ready to win
we're
now.
winning right now, and now that the owner has bought in on me where he's gonna keep me around now. We just saved my ass, right? So I can be here next year for the draft. I'm not going to trade away the future right now. We're
Yeah,
growing
Brian
right now. Why would I
Daboll
ruin
and
that?
Joel Shane can't be comfortable until they get a contract extensions. That's it.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
literally, we had rumors last year that they might be ousted, they might be fired.
Mhm.
So, until the owner kind of reinvests in them, they can't feel comfortable.
All right. Christian says, did you see Shiloh Sanders dress up as Shador at the stadium? Oh
No,
no, I didn't
I
see
didn't.
that, but that
I
would have
don't
been,
pay attention to dumb shit.
those guys. Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Uh,
Attention whore much.
yeah. Yeah. I know. Right. Best part about football season, we all wish, but all get let down in the end. Yeah. Sometimes not all of us, right? Not all of us get let down. There's somebody there that comes out on top, right? So we both agree on Cleveland. Next, let's get to the New England Patriots and the Tennessee Titans. Oh, yeah, this week seems pretty easy, Joe. All right, damn. Like, all right,
Just
let's
when you
go.
say that,
Right? Yeah, I
we'll
don't
have
know.
all these games flip flopped.
Yeah, they're gonna flip by. Yeah, I just ruined it. I screwed it. I screwed it. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Who the hell cares?
All right. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about this game even too. I think New England is gonna roll these guys. I get their head coach isn't there, but and they said that practice has been
Might be
shitty
a
and
good
stuff like
thing.
that. Sometimes it is, because that's what surprises you. You think you're going in there, this team just fired their coach, and that's when these interim head coaches usually get their first win, like right directly after. Then they're ass after.
Yeah.
They get their first one though, and then they just suck after. So this one could be a trap game. But I'm gonna go with the New England Patriots on this. How about that? How about they fire Callahan, right? Vrabel comes into town and he loses. Wouldn't that be an ultimate for drunk?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Give me the Patriots in this one. The Titans are, in my opinion, the worst team right now. The Patriots are one of the more ascending teams. With the last couple of weeks, what they've been able to do. So, give me Drake May, give me the Patriots, give me their defense, and Mike Vrabel at the helm.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, so there we go. There, shout out to everybody in the chat there. There you guys are. Make your comments known. How about Drake May's progression? Christian says looks like New England actually might have hit on him. I think so. Again, he was my favorite quarterback in the draft coming out in that one. Then number 2 for me was Jaden Daniels. So both look good right now. So let's see if he can and progress, because I wanted the Giants to get him if that was the opportunity for him, but.
Yeah, I love Jaden Daniels was my number 1. Drake May was my number 2.
So we love it.
I love what I see from him.
Love
what I see from him. And that's the thing. This is why quarterback is the most important position in the NFL. It's not even debatable, because a quarterback, if he's really good and pans out, he can literally turn your offense around. And whether you have a stellar offensive line or not, even if you have weapons or not, they start with the ball in their hands, they distribute the football, and if they're really good, they make things happen.
Absolutely. Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs at home, they are pretty much unstoppable at home, dude. So this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be a tough matchup here. I think Max Crosby could still get to Kansas City and get to Mahomes, but Geno Smith turned the ball over nonstop. It's just killed them.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Because again, they could be okay still on offense. I feel like, again, he keeps turning the ball over. That kind of just kills the drives, and then they're playing from behind. So it's going to be killer. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one.
Yeah, no, it's not even close to, like, I don't know how you can pick the Raiders in this game. Give me the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah.
They're going to easily win this game. The Raiders are one of the worst teams in football right now. They don't have an answer for anybody.
Philadelphia Eagles, Minnesota Vikings. Again, we're still checking in on whether Carson Wentz is going to play in this game. I hope he does for a revenge game. I would keep even McCarthy on the bench even right now. I'd say, yo, you're still not feeling good. You're going to go out there. Carson Wentz is playing with fire. He was playing with fire over there, across the pond. I think let's keep him in here for this one. I think he wants to go out there and get a win. Philadelphia is reeling right now. I like Minnesota to take the victory here at home.
Yeah, this is an interesting game because, like, what kind of teams are we going to see? Like the Vikings. Obviously, it's a tough environment to play in Minnesota. I like what I've seen from Carson Wentz in this offense, and they've played it really admirably well. Eagles, again, I got to wonder, like, is Jalen Carter returning this week or not? Like, that's going to be up for, evaluation at the end of the week. On Friday is when we kind of get that real answer from teams on injuries. Eagles, they got to figure things out, man. I don't know if this is the game that they do. I don't know if the Vikings kind of give them their second loss here in a row. I'm gonna go with the Eagles on this one, going into Minnesota and getting the win.
All right. Okay. Our one different one that we have. All right. Carolina Panthers and the New York Jets. Jets at home. Now, do the Jets surprise us here now? And Carolina team that just coming off a win against the Dallas Cowboys. Do the Jets, do we say, this is an upset, right? Upset the Carolina Panthers? Do they finally get it going? The funny thing with the Jets is because they can run the ball. They got to get to Breece Hall, whether it's in the run game, the passing game, but even Garrett Wilson, how are you not getting the ball out there? But if that's even the fact too, if everybody's just teeing up against against the quarterback, how are you not running like design plays for the running back, or for the quarterback, Justin Fields, and not doing RPOs? Something, get creative. I don't see any creativity at all in this offense at all.
Well, that's the thing is they do utilize Fields in running plays and RPOs and whatnot, and that's the real reason why they brought him into with the Jets is because of his mobility, because his threat, if you will, with his throwing arm. I know that's not really my opinion, but that's what they're thinking. Um, but this is an offense that's kind of weird where like they didn't have Garrett Wilson last week, and that really hindered their offense. They don't have any big time playmaker other than him. So that limited this offense and what its capability of what they're able to do. Again, Garrett Wilson might be doubtful for this week as well. And if that's the case, this Jets team
Mm,
just isn't going to be up to snuff. I mean, they're not going to be able to do much of anything on offense. And then defensively, that track record this season is it's porous too. So
mhm.
give me the Panthers in this one. The Panthers to me have been a team that's also kind of been up and down week to week. What kind of Panthers team are we going to get? But I'm going to count on Rico Dowdle to continue his running
Yeah.
through various defenses up to this point, and give me, listen. All you got to ask Bryce Young to do here is don't fuck up.
Yeah,
Don't turn the
basically.
ball over. That's it.
Yeah,
Just don't turn the ball over.
basically.
Throw it to rookie Tet McMillan.
Yeah.
Throw it to, Xavier Legette. Throw it to whoever you have to. Just keep the
Just
ball
not the
in play.
defense. Yes, yeah,
Just don't give it
absolutely.
to defense. Give me the
Yeah,
Panthers.
yeah, yeah, and that's what a story. How about Rico Dowdle, huh? Coming out here after Chuba Hubbard goes down for an injury and just playing well, you know what I mean? And
Back
then
to back,
calls his shot against the Dallas Cowboys.
back to back over 200 rushing
Mm,
yards. I mean, that is amazing. And can he
amazing,
do it again? I mean, this
right?
is a Jets defense that's reeling. I mean, I think
Mhm.
he might imagine if he could do it again 3 times in a row. It might be even an all-time record right there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so next, the New York Giants against the Denver Broncos. Denver is a really good defense. On top of it, offense, we've talked about it, lackluster. Just barely kind of scraping out wins against some of these teams that you should pretty much, if you're a good team, and you should be able to dominate. And they're not really getting separation against these guys. Defense keeping them in it. I think you had brought up too about points allowed. They're near the top.
Mhm.
But the Giants, I think they have a shot to play hard against this team. I think they got a shot to win too. I think the Giants can win this game. But you know me, I'm just not going to pick them. I'm going to pick the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The
And that
Giants
hurts.
really do have a shot with Jackson Dart as their quarterback. Cam Scadaboo now getting his time to shine on the football field. I love what the Giants have been able to put together, so far, relatively quickly with the rookies. But the Broncos, man, I can't pick against a real good defensive unit like the Denver Broncos, and the fact that Bo Nix in their offense is doing what they need to do to get enough points to win games. Like they're not blowing any teams out by any means, but at the same time, when you got good defense and solid offensive play, give me that team. Give me Denver.
All right, next we've got the Indianapolis Colts and the Los Angeles Chargers. This is going to be a good game to watch. I feel like for me, because these are the two teams again to where you have question marks like how good are these guys? Well, now we get to see them square off against each other at least, right? Like Chargers, they were a team that we expected to play better. Had an opportunity again to get a big lead in this division. When we talked about the Bills getting
Mhm.
up above the Chiefs, Chargers were in the same boat and they let a couple of wins go and squandered. They've had injuries now, on their offensive line, but then also with the running back situation. So they're rearing a little bit here, but trying to fight back. Indianapolis, on the other hand, though, they just been full speed ahead, with a couple, with one loss here, just stumble. But besides that, they're rocking and rolling on all phases. So with that being said, Chargers, even though they're at home, it doesn't matter. Like we know this. The injuries that they have, I'm gonna go with the Colts on this one and see Danny Dimes let it up here in LA.
The Colts faithful do travel, by the way. So this
Mhm.
will turn into a Colts home game. And it is going to be the battle of the running backs because that's what both offenses love to do. Jonathan Taylor exceeding expectations after all those injuries that he's piled up, looks healthier than ever. Kamani Vidal, a new up and coming running back for the Chargers, obviously with Najee Harris going out, Marion Hampton missing time, and not just going to miss a few weeks. It sounds like it's going to be a while until this guy returns. There's a big question mark of just how long. Is it season ending or is it like, you know, 7, 8 weeks? There's a lot of question marks surrounding a Marion Hampton right now, but it's all good. Kamani Vidal came in last week, 124 rushing yards, a touchdown. The guy caught a few passes. I believe he had 3 catches for 30 yards. The good dude kind of splashed on the scene as the favorite going into this week. They found their next guy. This is incredible. Like usually when you lose not one but 2 good running backs, you don't have an answer after that, but the Chargers did. So give me the Indianapolis Colts in this one because they have a very good defense. They got one of the best offenses right now in football. And the Chargers, if the Colts end up taking the lead early and holding on to it, might be a little bit more difficult for the LA Chargers.
Oh man, that's good. Joe's is watch your language, son. Oh man, that's good. How long has she been watching though? So she did hear the language before, or I should not say anything.
That's
Oh,
right.
nice. Okay. All right.
On to
So
the next game.
yeah, be good. All right. Washington and Dallas. This is going to be an interesting. If I could say the damn word, it's going to be a game, Joe. And the Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas, you know they're going to put up points here. Their defense is ass. And Washington, they just got to not screw it up here. So Washington Commanders coming in, it's going to be tough. They come as the most balanced team, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe Dallas at home, they're going to get the upper hand though, just because Washington, I feel like last year was their lightning in a bottle that they caught, but they still got some more to learn. I think it's still somewhere to go. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys at this one at home.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with the more balanced team. I'm going to go with the Commanders. The Cowboys have a horrendous defense. Can't seem to figure anything out there, and they sorely miss Micah Parsons. So, give me the Commanders in this one. I think Jaden Daniels and company they bounce back, and also they are getting back Terry McLaurin this week.
That's
So,
big
give
for
me the
them.
Washington Commanders.
All right, here we go. Green Bay Packers and the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals looking rough there too. The last couple of weeks. Green Bay, I think they can string up another win here too. I still think they're one of the top teams in the league. I'm going to go with the Packers on this one.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not? I mean, the Packers have been playing solid football. The last couple of weeks, defense struggled a little bit, but I think this might be a bounce back game for them playing a tough Cardinals team. Give me the Pack Attack and Jordan Love to kind of get realigned and reacquainted with Matthew Golden and company. I like what they have to offer. And then Josh Jacobs, obviously, he's going to be looking to have a big game here, too. Cardinals, we still don't even know if Kyler Murray's going to be back yet. There's still question marks about him even playing. And Marvin Harrison is also hurt, so things aren't looking up for the Cardinals.
No, absolutely not. All right, the Atlanta Falcons, San Francisco 49ers, under the lights, Sunday Night Football, San Francisco at home. Atlanta just, again, coming off a big win against the Buffalo Bills. This could be a tough one again, but I feel like both teams, they need to just run the ball, right? You're going to see Christian McCaffrey. You're going to see Bijan Robinson all night. Like, that's what this should be the game plan on this one, right? But the one thing that Atlanta does have is the receivers there at this point too, and they're playing good, and that defense is nice as well. So I'm going to side with the Atlanta Falcons at this one to upset the San Francisco 49ers at home. They should be maybe like the 79ers just because how old everybody is there and then just injured.
I mean, really, it's injuries. I don't
Yeah,
think
that's
it's
true.
very much
That's
age.
true. That's true.
But Brock Purdy is practice today, so he looks
Yeah.
like he might be trending to return. Other than that, you've got other guys that are kind of in flux right now. You know, Ricky Parasol is questionable at this point. Maybe it gets better as we get to Friday's designation. Also, Juwan Jennings played last week with 5 bruised ribs. Can he continue? I mean, that is extremely painful. But again, if he does, and maybe they get some more weapons back, it's definitely going to help out the offense. But this is a team that is injury riddled. No Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner. Um,
Mm,
you know, they're kind of falling apart, but they're still kind of holding it together in a sense. But the Atlanta Falcons, they're definitely healthier. They got younger guys. They're impactful players too.
mm.
Like Bijan Robinson, like we mentioned earlier in the show, Drake London, Kyle Pitts now starting to come into his form, and their defense is now starting to get on track. So give me the Atlanta Falcons in this one.
Christian says McCaffrey has single-handedly been saving my fantasy season. I don't know if you guys remember, I got him in the second round. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's
That was
blasphemy for
crazy.
him to go in the second round, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah. Oh, I know,
I took him
Yeah,
with
we've
the
seen some
sixth
crazy.
overall pick in mine.
Yeah, there you go. That goes to show you. All right, next Monday we got 2 games again. All right, in Tampa Bay and Detroit here. This is gonna be a good matchup to watch. I'm gonna skip the
It's a
second
fun
game,
game.
but this one I'll watch. The other one's up too late, 10 o'clock to start. Like, what are you nuts? All right, so Tampa Bay, Detroit. This is gonna be a knockout dragout game. I'm excited to watch this one, but I think I'm going to tip my cap to the Detroit Lions here to play at home and kind of come back off of that loss. In Tampa Bay is going to go down here, but it's going to be a good matchup.
It's gonna
Absolutely.
be an awesome matchup.
Hell
Like this
yeah.
is the game of the week in my mind. Uh,
Hmm. Oh,
give me
absolutely.
I love that both teams are gritty. Both teams, I will say they're both pretty close offensively when healthy. Tampa Bay obviously they didn't have like any
Mm-hmm.
of their starting receivers last week. I
Yeah.
don't know what the trend looks at this moment midweek. You know, is it seems like Chris Godwin's going to be out yet again another week. It sounds like Emeka Ibuka
Hmm.
is kind of in flux. He may or may not be good to go by the end of the week. And Mike Evans looks like he's finally going to make his return this week. So that is a huge uplift in this offense. Defensively, this is kind of where both teams kind of separate themselves. The Lions have a better defense, and even though the Buccaneers have a lot of talent on that side of the football, a lot of times they don't ever reach their full expectations. Like eh, with the talent that they have, you expect them to have a better defense, and I just don't see it week to week, and that's why you end up seeing a lot of these come from behind wins from Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield. So, with that being said, give me the Detroit Lions at home with a more solid defense and a house that's going to be rocking. Give me Jared Goff in that offense.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That one's, I think, gonna be a really close one. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay does somehow pull it off, but again, it'll be on the arm and the legs of Baker Mayfield. All right, moving on to the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks game. This one I think is going to be fairly close here. I think Houston was able to, um, you know, get a good win here against the Ravens a couple weeks ago here too because of injuries and things like that. Kind of seem like they're kind of to bounce back into things, but I think they still have a little ways to go here offensively. Seattle, I think, has been a really good team. I'm surprised even too that Sam Darnold again is playing so well there too. They can run the ball. The defense is playing up and stepping up and playing their best right now that they have all season. And as long as Sam Darnold again doesn't make mistakes, it seems like when teams go to play this team, like you would say that, hey, listen, all they got is Jackson Smith and Jigba. So our game plan is we're gonna double teams Jackson Smith and Jigba. We're just gonna force them to Sam Darnold to do something, right?
Mhm.
And it seems like it doesn't matter that he still gets his and still does his thing, and it doesn't matter. He still does it. It's just crazy to watch. So them being here at home with the 12th man on top of it, I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks on this one.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game because Sam Darnold has played it really well, really good football, the last couple of weeks. And this Seattle Seahawks defense seems to be getting back on track. Does that continue? If the NFL tells you anything this year, nothing is guaranteed. I don't know what kind of Seattle team we're going to see this week, But the Houston Texans, I think that they were able to get a couple things right after the bye week, and I'm expecting this team to kind of get get back to their winning ways, get back to their more aggressive play style on offense, and kind of really take off. The Texans defense is no slouch. Texans defense is one of the best defenses in football, and they're going to give Sam Darnold and company some issues. I kind of foresee Jackson Smith and Jibba, who's had a electric season so far. I expect them to kind of try to take him out of the playbook here and put it all on the shoulders of Sam Darnold and Cooper Cup. Give me the Houston Texans in this matchup. I like they have a better defense, in my opinion. And I think CJ Stroud and their offense are going to find ways to win this one.
All right, there you go. There's the picks. Christian's out there. He says, do you guys think Mike Evans gets his 1,000 yards this year?
That's a
only had
really good question.
140 through 6
Yep,
games.
through 6 games, and honestly, part of that limitation has been the ascension of Emeka Egbuka, and now you kinda couple that with whenever Chris Godwin comes back yet again, uh, you know, Abuka's been a godsend to this team, so, like, they don't have to rely so much on Evans, but, I think if this offense continues in the direction that it does and they can spread the ball around more than just kinda feed Mike Evans most games, then I don't think he's gonna get that, 1,000 mark at receiving. I think that's gonna be one of those things where, like, this offense is changing now. They don't have to rely so much on Evans every single week.
Yeah, I think the streak ends too this year. Just again, injuries. He's getting a little bit more injured every year, and then this one,
Well,
it might be the difference.
yeah, I mean, it could change clearly, but
Mhm,
6
mhm,
games, it's really only 3 games is when he played.
mhm.
So, out of 3 games, he's only had 140 yards.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yep,
that I mean, obviously, that could uptick and maybe he bounces back and still gets it, but it's gonna be, a tall hill to climb.
yep, yep. But still, that's still a great feat, though. Last year he hit his 11th consecutive season
Mhm.
at 1,000 yards plus. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. See if he can keep it going. But yeah, I don't. I just don't see it happening. But all right, that's it. That's it for the show tonight. We really appreciate you guys joining in with us. Special shout out to Christian out there who stuck it through most of the half end of the show. I guess he missed the first half, but he finished strong, Joe, with us. So we appreciate you out there. Appreciate the new listeners too. Joe's mom out there too, and Paul Practico. Shout out to him out there too as well. Just next time, some people out there maybe just stay off the weed a little bit. And so, right, there was a lot of weed talk
Let's
out there, a lot of crazy stuff.
let's make some complete sentences and that they have to make sense.
Yeah, yes,
That's all we're saying.
absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. So, all right, that's it for us this week. We'll see you next week there, Christian, and everybody else. Again, if you haven't yet, Joe, tell them what to do.
It's real simple. Head over to YouTube for us. Further help if you wanna further help the show, hit that subscribe button for us. Goes a long way. It really does matter. And also hit the thumbs up as well. That way it allows the YouTube algorithm to kinda get a hold of them and say, "Hey, some people actually like this content. Let's show it to other people." And don't forget to tell a friend, share it, and spread the word. Thanks, you
All
guys.
right.
We'll see you in the next one.
See you guys in the next one.